Real quick, before we get into the goodness, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified to every time we upload a video. Appreciate you. So what's up, everybody? This is Big Brother Tucker. My heart is heavy. My mind is kind of all over the place because here in my wonderful home state of Texas, we had an incident, and that is a mass shooting. As an Uber driver, I enjoyed introducing and telling people about the history of my state and city, our uniqueness, and dispelling some myths while explaining some exaggerations. One of those being the never feeling a threat of a mass shooting, because though somewhat exaggerated, Texas does have a very robust gun ownership population. There are more gun purchases made here in Texas than any other state. And our gun laws, in a very, very large part, come from a mass shooting that happened many years ago. In Killeen, Texas, in 1991, a crazy individual drove his pickup truck into a Luby's cafeteria and started to open fire. And he killed 23 people while wounding 27 others. This man was not mentally well. One of the things that came out of that shooting was a young lady named Susanna Hupp. She was there at the Luby's where both her parents were killed by the shooter. She testified that she would have liked to have had her .38 revolver, but said, "It was 100 feet away in my car." She had feared that if she was caught carrying it, she might lose her chiropractor's license. She testified across the country in support of concealed handguns and was elected to the House of Representatives in '96. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what started Texas's concealed carry laws, which eventually evolved into what we have now, which they call constitutional carry. Though I know that things like this mass shooting cannot truly be prevented, because I will tell you what a Secret Serviceman told me before. When you have someone that is willing to sacrifice their life to take others, there's not much you can do to stop that individual. These mass shootings pick soft, unexpected targets. Schools, outlet malls, shopping centers, where the possibility of retaliation, resistance, and return fire is conceivably low. But I thought that rule didn't apply in Texas. It's amazing how people talk about Texas being gun crazy, gun nuts, and gun this and gun that. Yeah, we are just as vulnerable, huh, to any insane individual with a firearm. I honestly believe that happening here would be a rare once in a blue moon occasion, because there are a lot of people that legally and lawfully carry firearms. Yet I'm seeing this over and over and over again. I know it happens nationwide. I get it. And you could take what I'm saying and I guess in a somewhat sense apply it nationwide. But right now I'm just referring to Texas over and over again. You know, there was one shooting where a guy was outside of a church and started shooting into a church. Killed a lot of people, children included. And what stopped him? A neighbor with a automatic rifle. Wounded him. He stopped shooting, got in the truck, drove off, died a little bit later from those wounds. I thought that's how my state handles it. We may not be able to prevent, but we can lessen. We can lessen the casualties. because around here you never know who's packing. For example, there was a situation at a sports bar in Arlington a few years ago. Guy came in, got into it with a member of the staff, kills the member of the staff, shoots him dead, and a patron immediately pulled out his gun, shot him. End of the threat. The police called him a hero because the aggressor, the initial shooter, was reported to have enough firearms to do mass damage, to cause and create mass casualties in that establishment. And we all know about the nationwide news-making incident down in Houston where the guy was robbing a taqueria and an armed patron killed him. You see, that's the way I always thought it would work here in my state. That person standing next to you at the mall buying that $100 shirt might have a pistol tucked up under that $30 shirt they have on. That lady next to you buying that meal with her kids might have a pistol in her purse. You never know. I always felt overconfidently safe in my state. And now, I just don't know. But to get to the nitty-gritty of this, I want to talk about how tragedies like this certainly get politicized, which is why things like this never get properly addressed, because they are instantly politicized. When you hear about mass shootings now, it's not even how many people were killed or injured. Where was it? No. The number one question is, what race was he? That's what they ask first now. And God forbid to be a white man. Oh my goodness, it's damn sure racial. They ask questions about who the assailant was more than they give a damn about who the victims are. And increasingly, the assailants aren't who the ideological left can point to and hold up for their political arguments. One of the things that I saw less than 24 hours after this Allen Outlet Mall shooting here in Texas was this. It's a meme. It's a pic, not necessarily a meme, but it's a picture with Greg Abbott on it. And it says, under Greg Abbott, Texas ranks number one in number of school shootings, number one in rural hospital closures, number one in uninsured residents, number 41 in school funding, number 49 in teacher retirement benefits, and number 50 in access to mental health care. Now, it's a picture that's put up. It has no reference points. It's just arbitrary information. So what I did, I decided to do my own research on it. And no, Texas is not number one in school shootings. Actually, California is. California gun laws are some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, which dismantles the whole thing of, we need more gun control laws. I mean, so I don't understand how Greg Abbott is responsible for school shootings. And it pisses me off that it gets politicized like that. It's ridiculous. Okay, then if that's the case, then who's responsible for the trans community arming themselves and going on mass shooting sprees around the country? Should we look towards an administration that is telling the trans community that they're constantly under attack? But you don't want to politicize that. You want to excuse that. You want to blame the circumstances. You don't want to point fingers at that. But when shit like this happen, and it happens in a ideological right side of the spectrum, then it's, let's point to that Republican. Let's point to that conservative. No, man. No. It don't work like that. It don't. But again, the ideological left never let facts get in the way of a good bullshit story and propaganda. You see, that's the problem. It gets politicized. It never gets truly addressed. It's either they kill for political and racial reasons, or they say nothing at all. Because when the story does not fit the propaganda pushed by the ideological left, the story gets really quickly buried. Is anybody still wondering about those transcripts from the Christian school shooter? Yeah, me too. but that things like that don't get addressed. And when you tell the truth about it and you tell the left, this is a mental issue, they come up with a billion excuses about, well, what do you want us to do? If that stat were true from what I read to y'all earlier about Texas being last in mental health, well, to be honest, because I had family that worked in the health industry, it's very true.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
We are piss poor as a state of taking care of our mentally ill, of those needing mental health assistance. Piss poor. And that can be said for the nation, because this disregard for human life is appalling. You know, the incident I referenced earlier, the Luby's cafeteria shooting in Killeen, Texas, I implore y'all to go look that up, because the witnesses repeated what the shooter was saying while he was casually walking around the cafeteria killing people. He was not in his right mind. He had been pushed to the breaking point, and that's what the result was. Let's talk about the Asian mass shooting spree that happened in California a couple of months ago, perpetrated by an Asian American. But that whole story got memory hold. He too, not of his right mind. Because as much as they want y'all to believe it, guns cannot kill without someone pulling that trigger. To blame a gun is absolutely idiotic and asinine. That is a weapon that must be fired. So taking guns, what does that do? You think that guns are the only way to kill? No. Let me take you to another incident that happened, I think Saturday as well, down in Brownsville, Texas. A man drove his car through a crowd of immigrants at an immigration facility. There were some immigrants outside, and he just drove his truck through them, killing 8. So are we going to find what kind of car it was and say these cars no longer, if it was a Dodge, we're going to say, hey man, Dodges don't need to be on the road anymore. We need to stop these Dodges from being made. No, you don't. The Boston Marathon bombing, done by 2 brothers. They used pressure cookers as homemade bombs. It killed 3 people, took the limbs of, I think, 17. So we're going to find out who made those pressure cookers and start banning pressure cookers and say, stop making those pressure cookers, shouldn't be allowed in homes anymore. Are we going to start doing that? You see, people, I hate to tell you this, but I said it a moment ago. If someone is intent to kill you, they don't necessarily need a gun. Do you know how many attacks in New York are going on with axes and machetes, bladed weapons? So are we going to start saying there can be no blades ever sold in New York ever again? We need background checks. We need blade control laws. Is that what we're going to start doing? No, because it's not the blade. It's not the pressure cooker. It's not the car. It's the individuals using those devices. It goes back to the mental health of these people. We have gotten to a point where we have such a careless disregard for our fellow man, because people, it does not take just a gun to kill a lot of people. The Boston Marathon bombers proved it. Timothy McVeigh proved it when he took out an entire federal building in Oklahoma City. The Waukesha Christmas parade killer, the guy who drove his truck through an entire Christmas parade, he proved it. You don't need a gun to kill a lot of people if that's what's on your heart and your mind. So stop it. Just stop with all the gun fear. Stop terrorizing and scaring people and making guns this evil thing that should be put away and locked away forever. Because let me tell you this, there's a reason that the Second Amendment is in play. And that is because it is the last thing that stands between an oppressive government and freedom. That is the true reason that the Second Amendment was put in play, was to fight back against an oppressive government. Back then it was England. Now, this administration is authoritarian in every way except in its name. I've seen people on Twitter talk about how the Second Amendment is not that important, it's outdated, it's this and it's that. Ask the people of Canada how important the Second Amendment is. You think there's not a direct correlation to they banned guns and all of a sudden they became this damn near dictatorship? Study your history. Do you know when England got word that America was unhappy? When America started to build a very quiet and subtle revolutionary mindset, when that got back to England, Do you know the first thing that they were ordered to do to the people of the New World? Take their weapons. Because they wanted to disarm us with no way to fight back against their tyranny. It happens in history over and over again. In my state, the great state of Texas, that ain't looking so great right now, it happened here. The Texas Revolution. When things got tense, when Mexico felt that a revolution was coming, the first thing that they wanted to do was take a cannon in the small town of Gonzales, referred to as the Battle of Gonzales, which is some call the first battle of the Texas Revolution. Mexico asked for the cannon back. They sent men to take it back. We wasn't giving it up. And we flew the flag with a picture of a cannon on it. Come and take it. For a government to suppress its people, the first thing it must take is their ability to fight back. Do you think anybody in China has a pistol? Hell no. What's their government like? North Korea? Same thing. See the pattern? And something else that you anti-two-way people might want to hear to get your head right. The police, by Supreme Court law, are not obligated to save you. They are not obligated to save your life. Surprise. Look up the case of the town of Castle Rock versus Gonzales. Happened in 1999. It's a very heartbreaking case, but that is the root of the law that the police do not have a constitutional or otherwise duty to protect you. That is a federal ruling. So for all you non-2A folks who, I don't need a gun, the police don't have to do a damn thing. They do it out of human decency, but if they don't, oh well. Why do you think that the Uvalde Police Department and nobody at that scene got in any kind of trouble? They faced no repercussions, no legal repercussions that they face. Because they are not obligated to protect and save you. And y'all want me to give up my guns? Go f*** yourself. And get the people that need it some help. I honestly believe that if you put as much effort into finding ways to improve the ability to help those with mental issues as you do into trying to create more gun laws and repeal guns and do everything about guns to stop guns from get guns and blah, 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 guns, this would be a 10 times better nation. I'm out. And a salute to Jerry Springer, the father of trash daytime TV and former mayor of Chicago. I would just like to end it as he always ended his shows.
Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.
Yo, if you want to hear the rest, make sure you check out our podcast. You can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. That is iHeart, Pandora, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Plus, if you want to reach us, drop us a line. You can find us at freemindthinkers2022@gmail.com. Let us know what you think about us. Leave a comment below and share the video with as many people as you can. I greatly appreciate that. This is your man, Big Brother Tucker. See you on the other side. And always remember, never be afraid to think differently.